G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. Am I the a-hole for spoiling my friend's child and turning him against her? I, 31 female, am a single woman who lives alone and doesn't mind on having children of my own. I'm not wealthy, but I make enough to very comfortably support myself. I work from home and have a flexible schedule, so I have a lot of time to live how I want. I have a complicated friendship with Emma, 27 female, because I love her, but she frustrates me. Emma is a single mum with 2 children, Caleb 7 male and Grace 4 male. Grace has had serious lung problems since birth and contracted RSV in October and has been hospitalized since. It's been a horrible time and she's finally more stable now, but she's not well. Early into Grace's hospitalization, Emma asked me to take Caleb. Emma lives with her parents who were not willing to watch him full-time, so I happily took him in and temporarily converted my den into a room for him. He's a sweet kid who has been through a lot, and I'm happy to give him some quiet space. I've never taken care of a child long-term before, and my life was not set up for kids, but he has adjusted well. I love cooking and collecting special ingredients to use and try in new recipes, and Caleb just rolled with it. I grow microgreens at home, and he has loved watching the process and incorporating them into his food. He hasn't liked everything, but he is always willing to try. I like pour painting, and we've been having craft nights where he gets to experiment with his own canvases, which he's enjoyed. We also take trips to the museums and shows. I've kept up my regular life, and luckily, he was thrilled to come along. I would have struggled to come up with a more kid-specific lifestyle. Emma usually only calls weekly and sees him maybe once or twice a month, which bothers me, but the Grace situation must be draining, so I try not to hold it against her, but it does mean that Emma really has no idea what we do day to day. Yesterday was Christmas, and he was going to visit his mum. I sent him his gifts, which were shoes and books, plus gifts for his mum and sister. His grandma dropped him off last night and didn't really say much to me, which was weird. Caleb looked sad and didn't want to talk about it, so I let it be and we watched a movie before bed. Late that night, I got a call from Emma scream-crying at me for ruining her relationship with her son. I guess it didn't go super well, and she feels that Caleb is now spoiled because of me, and that what she can provide is no longer good enough for him. He wants to make kimchi with her. He wants to get a cat. He didn't want the mac and cheese his mum made for him. When Emma gave him a new coloring book, he told her about the paintings instead and asked her to get the supplies so they could do it together when he went back home. He asked why she never takes him to museums. I was so thrown off by the screaming that I yelled back and told her that I wasn't going to downgrade my life to suit her expectations, and she hung up on me. I feel guilty now. I really hadn't considered how I could be affecting Caleb's tastes long-term, but I think that she should have thought about that herself. She knows how I live. In the comments, not the a-hole. The kid is 7. She only saw him a couple of times a month. She abandoned the poor thing. How far apart are y'all that she wasn't seeing her son? OP says, her parents' house is 10 minutes from me, but the children's hospital is in a neighboring state, about 90 minutes away. 90 minutes away is not that far, especially if you're a good parent, and that's the distance between you and your small child. It is if there is no one to watch the one in hospital. Dad doesn't seem to be around, otherwise the parents would have a kid each and swap. Grandparents are useless. You can't leave a 4-year-old alone in a hospital for more than the time that it takes for a quick shower when they're asleep. Hospital staff make kids better. They don't supervise or do personal care. A kid older than a baby in hospital can't be left alone for a few hours. Whoa, I never knew that a 3-mile radius around the hospital was a cell phone dead zone, preventing this poor mother from FaceTiming her son. Someone should do something about that. Not the a-hole. This actually made me laugh. She is so furious about the way that you are raising her child, yet she dumped him straight back to you at the end of the day? That's a whole new level of entitlement. She should be more grateful that you have been caring for her child for so long with what I am interpreting as zero financial compensation. Absolutely spot on. The refund policy of child's upbringing does not apply here, especially when you ask for more of the same in the end. I'm gonna say not the a-hole. You took on a child when you didn't have to. Your friend's family didn't step up to the plate. Your friend visits her child so rarely, she's at risk of becoming Auntie Mum. You shouldn't have to give up your life for a kid that you didn't ask for, but happily took on. And now, on to the update. This isn't the happiest update, but not the worst either. It's also incomplete, but enough people have asked me for an update that I felt that I owed it to you guys. Emma has disappeared. I have not heard from her since the phone call, and she stopped showing up to the hospital around the first week of January. Grace has been released from the hospital into the care of Emma's parents. She is still very weak and lethargic, but she's recovering as well as she can. I bring Caleb to his grandparents to see her several times a week, and it's just so wonderful to see how happy they are to see each other. I can barely hold in the tears. This has been so difficult for the both of them, and I love that they have each other. There has been a never-ending series of meetings, visits, and phone calls with CPS, boards, and family lawyers these past 2 weeks, which has been a lot. There are complications to Caleb being placed with me that I had not considered before and almost resulted in him being placed with his paternal grandparents, but ultimately, it was decided it was best for Caleb to stay where he was, in his same school and near his sister. Barring any major complications, I will officially be granted temporary custody early next week, and very likely, guardianship this summer. Grace will remain with her grandparents for at least the time being, but me taking her once she's stronger has been suggested. It's uncertain if or when this could happen, but it's also a possibility. It would be best for them to be together. Emma's social media is still active. We can see her opening our messages, but we do not know where she is or who she is with. I just hope that she stays alive. I don't think I can ever forgive her for this, but her children still need her to be okay. Caleb will turn 8 at the end of this month. He wants to go ice skating. I've never gone myself, but I'm so excited to make a fool of myself with him. I just want to give him the best birthday that I can. He deserves so much. If anyone has any cool ideas, I'd love to hear them. It's not a happy ending, it is not an ending at all, but I don't see myself returning here, so it's the best ending that I have for you. I'm sorry for how disjointed my thoughts are, there is just so much in my head these days. In the comments, wow, OP, I wish all the best for you. You're an absolute hero. Caleb is very lucky to have you in his life, and he and Grace will surely be well taken care of and loved with you. Continue making these memories with them. They'll remember them for the rest of their lives. Ice skating is fun. I went for the first time in my 40s, and I surely made a fool of myself too. As far as ideas, just keep listening and hearing Caleb, as you have been. It sounds like you have been doing everything right, so I wouldn't change a thing. If you have the energy to post an update sometime later, please do so. I wish you, Caleb, and Grace all the best. OP says this isn't a happy ending, but it is in my mind. It seems like things are looking up for Caleb and Grace, and OP seems like the perfect guardian for them. I wish them all the best. I think it can be both. Caleb seems far better off with OP, and I would wager Grace would be too, but also the way it came, being abandoned by their mother, is very heartbreaking. So they may be better off, or they are, but it is truly heartbreaking that Caleb and Grace were abandoned. Wow. I'm so glad these kids have you and their grandparents in their corner. For the birthday, why not a cold day? So ice skating, ice cream, maybe a trip to a gallery with a silly prize for spotting the most winter-themed paintings, or some silly ice-themed crafting. You could also try and have Grace there for the ice cream bit. That's unlikely to stress her recovery. And OP says, I love the cold day idea. We were going to bake a cake and bring it to have with Grace, but the ice cream cake can't be that hard to make. Our next post is titled, Am I the a-hole for not stating why certain members of my family weren't invited to my wedding? Recently, my boyfriend and I got married. I come from a very traditional, if not stereotypical, Latino family. The kisma, gossip, is deeply ingrained in the whole family. I have about 7 uncles, one of which is also bisexual like myself. He got married some time ago, and when he sent out invites to the whole family, a large majority of them declined because religious reasons, which really saddened him. I kept this in mind when it came time to send out my invitations, and those particular family members did not get one. About a week ago, my husband and I went to my dad's house for the annual family reunion. I really didn't want to go because I knew in the back of my mind this absolutely was going to get around, despite the lack of posting on any social media, but my dad and mum really wanted me there. They are very supportive and are the be loud and proud type people, and I love them to death for it, even if it's a little bit obnoxious. The spirit's what counts though, right? And I voiced this concern to my dad, and he was very insistent that if crap goes south, he'll be right there to laugh about it. The entire time, my husband and I are getting some intense side-eye. The family that didn't attend didn't even try to hide the fact that they were whispering about my husband and I. About 2 hours later, as I am 6 or so whiskeys in, these straight uncles took initiative and decided to ambush me and ask why they weren't invited. I was polite, and I reminded them that they turned down the bi uncle's wedding for religious reasons. They responded with at least wanting to be thought about and being invited. I told them that I did think about them and decided they weren't worth the 57-cent postage to be told they weren't going to attend for bigoted reasons. It would be understating to say that their reaction was less than pleased. Crap hit multiple fans. My uncles went off for being compared to a postage stamp. My dad was eating it up. My mum was a little pissy at me for causing a disturbance in her house though, which unfortunately made me question everything at that moment. My grandma was giving me the judges in Spanish look. My husband kind of grabbed my hand and said, "Let's get out of here before you piss any more people off," in a laughing manner, and proceeded to drive us home. My dad sent me a "That's my boy, good on ya for standing up for yourself" text. My mum was still less than thrilled about how things went down. My bi-uncle sent me a text saying, "Thank you for standing up for me, but now my relationship with my brothers is strained to hell, and I didn't want that." My phone and social media have been blowing the hell up ever since then, but I'm kind of ignoring it though. But I do feel bad for my uncle because he just wants to be close with all of his brothers and not just one. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for how things went down? Edit. To broadly state this, I have apologized to my uncle for using him as an example in what happened, and I truly didn't mean to make things harder for him with his brothers. I also expressed that it isn't exactly healthy for his well-being to want to put up with them knowing how they feel about him before any of this happened. He kind of remained silent on the topic, so I'm trying to leave it alone and not force it. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the butthole. I feel like I might be the butthole because, out of good intentions, I made it harder for my uncle to be close with all of his brothers. My mum also just wanted to have a good family reunion, and I ruined that. Being compared to a postage stamp probably also wasn't a nice thing to tell my uncles. In the comments, not the a-hole at all in my opinion. The comment on this not being worth the 57-cent postage was a bit of a twist of the knife, but they earned it. OP says, "More than anything, I really just wanted to have a good time and enjoy myself and all the company. Why they felt the need to throw crap at all, then get mad when it gets thrown right back at them, will remain a mystery to me. But alas, some people just exist to stir it up." I'm curious, why did they want to be invited? Do they really get so much enjoyment out of being like, "No, nephew, I don't support your lifestyle, so I'm not going"? Like I would have asked, if I had invited you, would you have come? And OP says, while there is no for sure way of knowing why they wanted to be invited, they are very loudly anti-LGBT. It's no secret. About half of their Facebook posts and Instagram posts are them making it loud and clear that it's not right. My favorite one was that one that circulated in June with the family under the umbrella protecting them from the rainbow. So between that and my uncle's wedding, I decided to not even bother inviting them. They wanted to be invited so they could say no and indirectly shame you. By not giving them the option, you took the power away from them, and bigots absolutely can't handle it when it happens. Not the a-hole. You did not only stand up for your uncle, you stood up for yourself and any other family members who are LGBTQ+. Also, they only wanted to be invited to reject you, and you just did not give them the pleasure to dismiss you. There is always one that needs to be the first one to stand up against the bullies, and you, my man, were the hero in this story. Not the a-hole, but go ahead and apologize to your uncle. You did not really need to bring him up at all. Quote, "The spirit is what counts though, right?" It sounds like he agrees and loves you to death for it, but thought that it was a little obnoxious. OP says, "I did apologize to him, but I expressed to him that this was kind of unhealthy to want to be close to people who were so against something that you can't control." As for the whole obnoxious thing, I think you may have misunderstood me. He's the obnoxious one about it. He has gotten me several purple shirts and various articles of clothing that are purple. A couple years back, we were watching football. I don't know sports, and I asked him what a bye week is. His response was along the lines of, "That's the week where footballers sleep with men, so you better get on over there and get your pick." That kind of obnoxious. I'm glad that he didn't turn out like my uncles. And now onto the update. W-2s and 1099s are finally done. I have a break to finally post this. As I guessed, family did indeed find this. Between 7 uncles, one of my cousins likely showed them the post that I originally made. It was obviously not received well, lol. Anyways, I'm just gonna go down in list order of things or events that have happened. My dad. First off, he wanted me to tell all of you that he loved all the support and that he wishes to dad all of you as well. His words were, "It took 2 of us to make you, and I gotta say I love my work. Any parent that doesn't should never have tried." My mum. She had called me asking why I brought up the events of my uncle's wedding. I told her that I was simply having a good time with my husband and everyone else, that my uncles made the conscious decision to want to start a problem. She got mad and said that she just wanted to have a good party. I told her that I didn't want to be attacked for my sexuality and not inviting blatant bigots to my wedding, but that I'm glad her party meant more to her. We got into a shouting match over the phone. I told my dad what happened, and he is livid with her. They got into a fight, and now she's staying at my grandma's. I've apologized profusely to my dad, but he's telling me to let it go and that I've done nothing wrong. Above all else, this is what hurts the most. She was always so very supportive of me, and it feels like a massive bombshell was just dropped out of nowhere. My bi-uncle. Unbeknownst to me, my husband invited him over so he and I could have a heart-to-heart about what happened. It annoyed me a little bit, but I'm glad that he invited him over. We talked about the post that I made, and he saw everyone's comments. According to him, it kind of opened him up to the crap that he was just ignoring so he could pretend to have a close bond with all of his brothers. At the same time, though, he is still not sure what to do from here. We talked for a few hours, had a good cry hug about it, and everything is good on that front, and it makes me happy. He'll be seeking therapy to help him deal with his feelings on this. The other uncles. Obviously, they are livid with me. They couldn't believe that I posted something like that, blasting them on the internet. They said they didn't like being painted the way that I posted them. So I just straight up asked them if they thought that my bi-uncle was going to hell because of his marriage. To my shock, they had no problem saying yes. They didn't even try to, dance around it. In the end, I told them that if they didn't want to be painted as bigots, to lose the religious bigoted act, plain and simple. My husband has been non-stop trying to comfort me after the shouting match with my mum. He can see the immense pain I'm in. I love that man very much. He took me out for steak and old fashions the other night to help me get relaxed. That's all, folks. Thank you. Edit. Hello, everyone. This blew up way bigger than the original post did. God damn, I definitely appreciate all the love and support that I've received from everyone in the comments. As of this edit, I've decided to put some distance between myself and a lot of family. My dad is in support of this and will be coming over to my place more often than me going over to his and my mum's to visit. As for everything else, I've got my husband, Magic the Gathering, and a nice bottle of Crown Winter Wheat to help deal with everything else. Seriously, thank you everyone. Words cannot express how awesome all of you are. In the comments, stick with the people who clearly support you. Your dad and husband are wonderful, and the fact that your uncle is willing to sit and have a mature conversation with you shows that he is worth having around. Your mum seems to have the performative, I'll support this until it's not convenient for me to do so attitude, and I hope she sees the light soon. And F everyone else. It is wonderful to see his dad support his every move and love his every move. It also probs worth remembering the uncle is very used to horrific behavior, and even though he doesn't want to rock the boat, he can't expect others not to. Every action has a reaction. We all love you and are so proud of you, and from an LGBTQ person to another, I think the whole thing was stunning. Have a wonderful and healthy future. If your straight uncles feel comfortable posting crap on their social media, dehumanizing you and their bi brother, they really have no room to feel any sort of way about your use of social media. That said, your dad seems cool as hell. Bummer that he's in the doghouse. Well, personally, I think they should feel crappy as their hypocrisy is exposed undeniably to them. Quote, bummer that he's in the doghouse. Is he though? He's not the one who had to go stay with his parents. He's the one who gets to stay in his own home, sleep in his own bed, and scroll through Reddit to see all the comments about what a good dad and person he is. OP's mum is the one in the doghouse. She's the one who got kicked out of her home, the one who has to go stay with her parents until she learns to stop being an a-hole, and the one who gets to scroll through Reddit and see all the comments about what a disgusting human being and complete failure of a mother she is. The audacity of someone to say, "You're going to hell for who you love," and "Why wasn't I invited to the wedding?" in the same breath. Unparalleled. How far can one's head be up their own ass? I always love it when they say things like, "How dare you say all that stuff about us and make us look bad," when the only things they said were 100% the truth. They just wanted to, ironically, keep it in the closet. Literally, OP didn't paint them in any kind of light, didn't say anything about their personalities or how they convey things, aside from their own actions and reasoning. It's so wild to be like, how dare you make me look bigoted by telling people the bigoted thing that I said? Also, I stand by that thing. Okay guys, and that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, day, sleep, whatever you're up to. Bye.